Good morning, Malcolm Nance.
Good morning.
Listen, something has happened last night, right? I mean, this is after the last elections. There's a blue wave on top of Mueller coming. Am I right?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And let me tell you, I didn't think that Doug Jones would pull it out. But, after watching Roy Moore actually pretend to ride a horse, I knew that, the old phrase, you and the horse you rode in on would have to apply at some point.
I think that was the Daily News cover. Screw you and the horse you rode in on.
Yeah, I ride. So as soon as I saw it, I thought, holy cow, this guy has never been on a horse to save his life.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, Malcolm, let's talk about where we're at. You tweeted channeling Fredo, this attitude will send Don Jr. to prison. If he'll stonewall Congress, he will lie to the FBI because Dad. So he's testifying, is it today, before the Senate Intelligence Committee, right?
Right, that's absolutely right. Well, he's being brought in, and he's going to have to account for several places where he pops up in the Trump-Mueller investigation. Most notably was the meeting that he had with the Russian lawyer, Veselnitskaya, in which he, the I love it email, where he was looking for dirt on the Clinton campaign. And the funny part about that is the Russians themselves, Veselnitskaya, has come back and said that's what he was there for. He was looking for that dirty information.
Yeah.
Then came the cover-up to hide the fact that he had that meeting with the Trump campaign on Air Force One earlier this year, in June of this year. Also his contacts related to WikiLeaks. And this is why I've said, a few weeks back, that Trump Jr. has now popped up in no less than 3 critical places where it appears that his father handed off the job of dirty trick organization and management to him and Michael Flynn and the others.
Yeah. And you're right, Malcolm. I mean, it's the same thing as if Flynn. I thought, boy, these guys, it is hubris that brings you down, right? They just thought they were going to get away with this. And as you're saying, this smug Don Jr. attitude, like when he went on Hannity, right? Right after this news came out,
Right.
This is no big deal.
Absolutely. I call it masters of the universe attitude.
Yeah.
They didn't think they were going to win, but when they won, they all decided they were mafia dons, and that there's nothing that they couldn't do because they controlled, to use that analogy, the police force, the mayorship, the sanitation department. Therefore, they could loot everything. And they've done a fairly good job of living up to that reputation. But by lying to the Mueller investigation, like Michael Flynn has done, we're starting to see that they're coming up against the wall, and they just can't beat this. They just won't. So he's going to be called in today, Trump Jr., and he's going to have to answer those questions. Did you lie? And they're going to get him on the record. And anything he says, even though if he's not sworn in, it's still sworn testimony. It will put him in a perjury trap. So for the most part, I think today he won't say anything. I don't think he's going to want to confirm or deny anything that he said thus far, because anything beyond that is just, more wood chipper food.
Yeah. So obviously, you read that right. They want to appoint a second special counsel to investigate. Wait for it, the investigator, to investigate Bob Mueller. I mean, they're going to have a hard time trying to get around the fact that he is a lifelong registered Republican, worked in Republican administrations, a war hero. I mean, what do you? This looks so desperate, doesn't it?
It's phenomenally desperate, and it's worse than phenomenally desperate. It's another attempt at obstruction of justice. And if they push this, first off, Sessions would have to order Rob Rosenstein, the Deputy Attorney General, who's already made noises that he won't look into this. But if he pushes this, or at the insistence of the president, in which the impartiality of the Attorney General is once again compromised,
right,
then it's all you're going to do is give Mueller another line of investigation to go in there to determine, are they trying to use the Justice Department as the president's personal cudgel against justice?
Yeah. Well, and this latest thing, a series of text messages exchanged between top FBI employees referring to Donald Trump as an idiot and a douche. while fearing his potential victory is terrifying. Oh, well, they speak for about 70 million of us. First of all, we'll release to lawmakers. But again, the fact that Mueller immediately dismissed this one agent, doesn't that show that he's obviously above reproach and trying to keep this above board? And by the way, it's not illegal for FBI employees to have opinions. Certainly a lot of them had anti-Hillary opinions that forced Comey to do what he did, right?
Oh, good God. You couldn't believe some of the things that were being told to me by bureau people, about how crooked Hillary was. And as I kept saying to them, well, explain to me how you could ruin these investigations for 30 years and find nothing, not even a traffic ticket. And these guys were rabidly anti-Hillary, still in uniform.
Well, that's the ironic thing. It's in Rod Rosenstein's memo for why Comey got fired, the unfairness to Hillary in the email investigation.
Right. Oh, that's right. They were so unfair to Hillary by the Bureau. The funny thing is, when Ken Starr used 50 or more FBI agents investigating Monica Lewinsky, he and every person on his staff were putting out vehemently anti-Clinton statements and using FBI agents who did not have to meet this standard at all. So now there's a double standard for even the investigators.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Carlos.
I was reading it too. That isn't that Andrew Miller, the former spokesman of the DOJ, said that was really a highly unusual move to let reporters see these texts at all.
Right.
You're absolutely right. But what the job here today is to poison the well.
Right.
It's to make sure that Mueller has his legs cut out from under him at every effort. And if I were Mueller, all I would do is every time one of these attempts would occur, I would make it clear that I'm hiring a new public prosecutor.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
You can't obstruct justice every time and not expect a result.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we have to be glad that they seem to be in kind of a delusional bubble in the White House. That Ty Cobb, his lawyer, said all the White House interviews are over, adding, Trump hopes the special counsel office bring this to a prompt and appropriate conclusion. A spokesman for Mueller's office declined to comment. Adam Schiff said this idea is complete fiction, that they still seem to be saying, oh, yeah, this is all wrapping up, right? Oh. As I think Rick Smith tweeted, oh, buckle up, Buttercup. We're just getting started with Russia.
Oh, my God. We are really just getting started. I know a lot of people constantly ask me, when's this going to wrap up? Don't worry about the wrap-up. When the wrap-up comes, it will be glorious. It's all of the steps that lead up to that. I'm still on target for March.
Yeah.
Mid to late March being when really big indictments come out.
Right.
And that's like continuing indictments against Flynn, quite possibly against Jared Kushner, Steve Bannon, more against Manafort if he's not cooperating. But, the key person to watch this week, and I think we touched on it last week as well, is our friend Hope Hicks, who was a person who was hired into the Trump communications team strictly because of her looks and her parents. And this person who, I don't know if you've ever watched or listened to her on television, she should not be around any type of communication structure. I mean, she is not the brightest tool in the shed, but she is.
That being said, she does a very good job of steaming the president's pants while he's in them, reportedly.
Well, obviously, this is a prerequisite for a job as communications director.
Yes.
But the key thing here is her memorandum that she sent out related to Flynn speaking to Jared Kushner before the vote, getting the Russians to pull their opposition to or to block a vote against Israel. And then the memorandum also said Michael Flynn will talk to the Russians, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
That memo was not her giving orders. That memo, which went to Steve Bannon, Jared Kushner, amongst others, was her repeating the minutes of the meeting that was held. And she was the only senior staffer other than Mike Pence, who was at Mar-a-Lago.
Yikes.
So right now, Flynn is going to haul her. He did haul her in, if I'm not mistaken, this week. And, he's just going to give her one option. You're going to lie to me and go to prison, or you're going to tell us the truth about this meeting, the meeting on Air Force One where you engineered that false statement
Right.
about Donald Trump Jr.
Right.
But it's cracked like cheap glass.
Right.
And I think that she will turn state's evidence in a heartbeat. Although she's considered a loyalist for Trump, everyone has no other option here.
Yeah. Well, when this whole house of cards comes down, I mean, you're right. People are going to decide, am I going to prison too or not?
Yeah, so look for her to crack fast. And
Yep.
I think that by January, the fruits of that, where she will corroborate everything that Mike Flynn said, or you'll get a surprise indictment because she won't turn against Trump. And
Right.
they'll say, okay, well, you lied to a federal officer. They know everything already. They have the documents.
Yep.
They have Flynn.
Yep.
They have other people like Reince Priebus and Sean Spicer corroborating that she was the one handling these communications.
Yep.
If she doesn't turn on Trump, well, the Hope Hicks wing of a federal penitentiary
Oh, dear.
will be ready and waiting for her.
She'll be very popular in prison. Malcolm, I know you say March, but Daddy, won't we get anything else for Christmas? Is there nothing coming before Christmas, do you think?
Well, you know how the federal government works. Mid next week, if nothing happens, they'll come back in January.
Yeah.
Most of these guys work 24/7. I mean, from what I understand in that great article, I think it was in the Hill where they were talking, or Politico, where they talked to the lawyers about the process of the interrogation. These guys are not being interrogated by one prosecutor. They
Right.
have teams of people who will step out and come in just to throw you off
Yep.
and to go through another line of inquiry.
Yep.
Where you don't know where they're going.
Yeah. They don't get Christmas
Yeah.
vacation. You keep working. You can rest next Christmas after you get us America back. One thing we do have to look forward to, everybody's talking about, Malcolm, is you tweeted, if Jones wins, I'll tattoo rebel scum on my arm.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's
man of your word.
It's an homage to my friend Mark Hamill,
Yes.
who earlier this week tweeted out that he was a proud member of the Rebel Scum since 1977. And I had tweeted that literally minutes before they called it.
Yeah.
And,
Well.
I didn't know whether it was going to happen, but yes, I will get that done.
All right.
We'll see whether I do it in your studio.
All right. Let's do it.
And-
And then I vote for when Trump is indicted, you get to go to the White House and say, you're a traitor, you're a rebel and a traitor. Whatever that line is. With Mark Hamill.
That's right.
All right. Malcolm, exciting. We will start contacting tattoo artists now, and we will see you soon.
Okay. Take care, Stephanie.
All right. Bye,
Bye,
Malcolm.
fellas.
Bye, Malcolm.
Bye-bye. Bye, Malcolm.
Mm.